Hello, guys. Today we'll talk about a book in which there is a boy whose life is full of hardships. The book is Oliver Twist, written by Charles Dickens. As most stories begin with, this story also began with a sad event in a miserable workhouse. Our hero Oliver was also born here. Few minutes after Oliver was born, his mother died. Next day, birth of a baby boy was informed to Mrs. Bumble, the woman who ran the workhouse, by a woman who was present at the time of Oliver's birth. Mr. Bumble, the husband of Mrs. Bumble, named the baby boy Oliver Twist. Both the husband and wife were short, round, and mean spirited. For children, life at workhouse was full of hardships. Very less play, very less food, and lots of work to do in cleaning bottles in factories. Mrs. Bumble was a fuzzy woman. She got a monthly allowance from the town council to buy food and clothes for children, but she cared about her income, so she spent majority of money on herself. She gave gruel mixed with water to the children to increase the quantity. Very less was given to them to eat, and asking for more food was a crime. Oliver's best friend was Dick, who usually used to be ill. One day, all boys decided to play a game. Who wins goes and asks Mrs. Bumble for more food, which is a crime there. Poor Oliver. He got locked in a room because he asked for more food. He saw in the next room that the board members were having beef, chicken, potato pie. Oliver got mad. They decided to send Oliver with anyone who takes him with a cash of £5 because if he was there, other boys could do the same. He was taken by a local undertaker. He was there given better care and lots of meat to eat. But Oliver's struggles do not end here. Many weeks passed happily going, but Noah, the elder assistant of the undertaker, one day angrily spoke bad about his dead mother. Oliver angrily beat him. He called other members of the family and locked him up in a coffin. They called Mr. Bumble and told him about the change in his behavior. Noah lied that he had gone mad. Further, they all decided to take him back to the workhouse. Oliver ran away from there and reached London. He thought it is a better place for his future. There he was hungry and he met a child of his own age wearing big fancy clothes. His name was Dogger. Dogger picked up food from stalls secretly and gave it to Oliver. Further at night, Oliver was taken at Fagane's house by Dogger. Fagane gave him good food to eat, good care. Oliver lived inside at Fagane's house for many weeks. He saw many handkerchiefs and wallets hanging around on ropes there. One day, after many weeks he was inside, was taken out. There, Dogger and one guy stole handkerchief from a man's pocket. His name was Mr. Burnlaw. Oliver was seeing all this. He understood that all were pickpockets. As Oliver was seeing, people around told that Oliver was culprit, but in the courthouse, Oliver was proved innocent. Oliver was injured and tired. He was taken by home at Mr. Burnlaw's house. Oliver was there taken good care, and good food was given. Mr. Burnlaw was a rich man. There, Mr. Burnlaw showed him a painting of a beautiful woman which looked alike him. He told that his friend had given him before he died. Many days Oliver stayed there. He recovered, and then after many weeks he was told of work by Mr. Burnlaw. He was told to go and pay the bill for the books he bought, but he did not reach the bookstore. He was kidnapped by Bill Sakes and Nancy, the associates of Fagin. They took Oliver at Fagin's place and decided him to include in a robbery. During the robbery, when Oliver was opening the door, he lost his balance and fell on his head. He fainted. When Oliver was busy attempting the robbery, Mr. Burnlaw found a new thing about Oliver's past. He wrote a letter to the workhouse to know more about Oliver's past. He expected a letter in return, but two visitors surprised him. They were Mr. and Mrs. Bumble. Mr. and Mrs. Bumble told him that they know Oliver Twist and they have given him the name, and they gave him a locket and a chain. It was given to them by the woman who was present at the time of birth Oliver. The woman got the locket and the chain from Oliver's mother. The Bumbles were paid for the locket and chain, and they went back then. Mr. Burnlaw could see a twist in the mystery. Here, Oliver got hurt on his head, and when he got up, he realized he was in yet another room. It was beautiful and calm. He there saw a woman. She calmly entered in the room and told Oliver to come down and eat something and change his clothes. There he saw three kind people: Rose, Mrs. Melly, and Harry. Oliver told three of them the whole story, and Harry rushed towards Mr. Burnlaw's bungalow and told him that Oliver was safe and with us. Here, Fagin and Bill Six were making a plan to kidnap Oliver again. A mysterious man named Monks joined them. Nancy was there too. But first, Nancy kidnapped Oliver, but now she wanted to save the innocent child. She decided to inform about the plan to Mr. Burnlaw. Nancy also informed Mr. Burnlaw about the people there. Monks was suspicious about Nancy, so he followed her wherever she went. Monks informed all the people that Nancy was betraying them. After that, Bill Six killed Nancy. After attempting murder, Bill Six went at Fagin's place. Police followed them. Fagin and others were arrested, and Bill Six died in the crowd while he was running from the police. Here, the criminal story ends, but Oliver's story was still in a suspense. Here, Mr. Burnlaw had come to tell the whole story of suspense at Oliver's place. He also told that he should not fear of Bill Sakes and other members of the thieves as they are arrested. Rose, Mr. Burnlaw, Harry, and Oliver were awaiting for the suspense. Mr. Burnlaw had brought Monks with him. Mr. Burnlaw told Oliver that, "Do you remember the woman in the painting?" He gave him a locket which had the same photo of the woman. He said that the woman is your mother. The greedy people in the workhouse were hiding this from you. Monks is son of my friend Edwin Leaford, your father. Edwin Leaford had first married to another woman, and his son was Leaford, who was Oliver's half brother. Oliver, your mother's name is Agnes. She was in love with Edwin and they were going to marry. But Edwin had to go for an urgent work somewhere and he left the painting with me. Soon Edwin died and your mother gave birth to you. Monks wanted the whole property of his father and did not wanted to give you any. So he made a plan to make you a culprit and sent to jail and take away the whole property. You will be surprised to know that Rose is your mother's younger sister. Her father died and left her on the stairs. She was then adopted by Mrs. Melly. Now we come to the end of this suspense. Oliver then happily lived with Mrs. Melly, Rose, and Harry. And our hero story end here. Moral value that we learn from this book. Life takes something from you, but it also gives you something back. So never get disappointed and keep going.
Don't forget to like, share and subscribe this video.